and welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and today, in honor of all the flowers that are starting to bloom in our gardens, we are doing books that have a flower in the title. So, Jill, your first pick.
So my first pick is Peony in Love by Lisa C. This was published in 2007. And it's set in China. In 17th century China, 3 women become emotionally involved with the Peony Pavilion, a famed opera rumored to cause love sickness and even death, including Peony, the cloistered daughter of a wealthy scholar, who succumbs to its spell only to return after her death as a hungry ghost to haunt her former fiancé, who is married another. So a haunted Peony Pavilion. So if you want a little ghost story with
Peony in Love. The peonies are beautiful right now.
Oh boy, mine are about to pop.
Mine have just popped this week. My first pick is one of my husband's favorite books. This is The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, published back in 1980. The year is actually 1327 in this book. Benedictines in a wealthy Italian abbey are suspected of heresy, and Brother William of Baskerville arrives to investigate. When his delicate mission is suddenly overshadowed by 7 bizarre deaths, Brother William turns detective. His tools are the logic of Aristotle, the theology of Aquinas, the empirical insights of Roger Bacon, all sharpened to a glistening edge by wry humor and a ferocious curiosity. He collects evidence, deciphers secret symbols and coded manuscripts, and digs into the eerie labyrinth of the Abbey, where the most interesting things happen at night. This was also made into a movie in 1986 starring Sean Connery. So, if you want to go back in time for one, Umberto Eco's The Name of the Rose.
This one's my favorite flower. Lilac Lane by Cheryl Woods. My lilacs are just finishing. And
Mine
it's
too.
Too bad because they're right outside my window and smells good. At the heart of Lilac Lane is Kira Malone, who raised 3 children alone after her first marriage broke apart, and who, after years of guarding her heart, finally finds love again. But that love is short-lived when her fiancé suffers a fatal heart attack. Grieving and unsure of what's next, Kira agrees to move from Dublin to Chesapeake Shore, Maryland, and spend time with her daughter Maura and their new granddaughter Kate as well, to help her son-in-law Luke with his Irish pub O'Brien's. Not wanting to live underfoot, she rents a charming cottage on Lilac Lane, replete with views of the ocean and her neighbor's thriving garden, not to mention views of the neighbor himself. The neighbor is none other than Brian Laramie, the brusque and moody chef at the pub, in whom Kira is constantly butting heads. But things get real when Brian's long-lost daughter, whom he hasn't seen since she was a baby, shows up out of the blue. As Brian and Kira delve into their past, reopening wounds, and the rest of the town is gearing up for the Fall Festival Irish Stew Cook-Off and making no bones about whose side they're on. It's Kitchen Wars meet This Is Your Life, a recipe for disaster or a new take on love. So this was published in 2017, and it's classic Cheryl Woods. Got a lot of people in it with a lot of drama.
Yeah, she's a popular author here. My second pick is A Fall of Marigolds by Susan Meissner, and this was published in 2014. A beautiful scarf passed down through the generations connects 2 women who learn that the weight of the world is made bearable by the love we give away. September 1911. On Ellis Island in New York Harbor, nurse Clara Wood cannot face returning to Manhattan, where the man she loved fell to his death in the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. Then, while caring for a fevered immigrant whose own loss mirrors hers, she becomes intrigued by a name embroidered onto the scarf he carries, and finds herself caught in a dilemma that compels her to confront the truth about the assumptions she's made. Will what she learns devastate her or free her? Then Dual Timeline, September 2011. 100 years later, on Manhattan's Upper West Side, widow Taryn Michaels has convinced herself that she is living fully, working in a charming specialty fabric store and raising her daughter alone. Then a long-lost photograph appears in a national magazine, and she's forced to relive the terrible day her husband died in the collapse of the World Trade Towers. The same day, a stranger reached out and saved her. Will a chance reconnection and a century-old scarf open Taryn's eyes to the larger forces at work in her life? So, A Fall of Marigolds.
So my next one would have been good last week because it's kind of a retelling. Daisy by Libby Sternberg. This is a fresh take on classic characters. Daisy gives insight into Daisy Buchanan's viewpoint in the events of F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. So this is from Daisy's point of view in The Great Gatsby. While simultaneously retaining true to the original and adding new information, Sternberg weaves Daisy's perspective and Nick Carraway's account together, correcting what Daisy knows is inaccurate from her cousin's novel. Sternberg pulls readers in from the first page, and while the outcome of Daisy and Gatsby's affair is universally known, readers still cannot help but root for the pair. As the novel progresses, the tension in Daisy's love life heightens and the stakes. And while it's easy to want to see Daisy and Jay make it work, the reader can also feel Daisy's ambiguous feelings about leaving her husband for Gatsby. As the story climaxes, readers are left feeling confused as Daisy is in regard to the decision she needs to make. While there are noticeable changes in the overall story, it is a different perspective after all. Daisy provides readers of romantic and or feminist fiction and fans of The Great Gatsby alike with a satisfying story that is faithful to the original, yet unique in its own right. So, yeah, if you want to...
Daisy's perspective. I love it. I also had to work lilacs into a title because, like you, I like the lilacs this time of year. So I have Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly, and this was published in 2016. On the eve of a fateful war, New York socialite Caroline Faraday has her hands full with her post at the French consulate and a new love on the horizon. But her world is forever changed when Hitler's army invades Poland in September 1939 and then sets its sights on France. In Ocean Away from Caroline, Kasia Kuzmarek, a Polish teenager, senses her carefree youth disappearing as she sinks deeper into her role as a courier for the underground resistance movement. In a tense atmosphere of watchful eyes and suspectful neighbors, one false move can have dire consequences. Our third character is ambitious young German doctor Herta Oberhauser. She sees an ad for a government medical position, and it seems like it's her ticket out of her desolate life. But once hired, she finds herself trapped in a male-dominated realm of Nazi secrets and power. The lives of these three women are set in a collision course when the unthinkable happens, and Kasia is sent to Ravensbrück, the notorious female-only Nazi concentration camp. The tragedy and triumph of their stories cross continents, from New York to Paris and Germany to Poland, capturing the indomitable pull of compassion to bring justice to those whom history has forgotten. And this was inspired by a real World War II heroine, so I believe this was her debut novel. So Lilac Girls.
Lilac Girls. That's a good one. So I had Nora Roberts in this one, another popular author around here. This is Blue Dahlia. This is actually the first in a series called In the Garden, so there's a lot of garden books in this one. Trying to escape the ghosts of the past, young widow Stella Rothschild, along with her two energetic little boys, has moved back to her roots in southern Tennessee and into her new life at Harper House and in the garden nursery. She isn't intimidated by the house, nor by the mistress, local legend Roz Harper. Despite her reputation for being difficult, Roz has been nothing but kind to Stella, offering her a comfortable new place to live and a challenging new job as a manager of a flourishing nursery. As Stella settles comfortably into her new life, she finds a nurturing friendship with Roz and expectant mother Haley, and she discovers a fierce attraction to ruggedly handsome landscaper Logan Kittredge. He's difficult but honest, brash but considerate, and undeniably sexy. And for a sensible woman like Stella, he may be just what she needs. But there is someone who isn't happy about Stella's growing feeling for Logan's, the Harper Bride, an unidentified woman whose grief and rave have kept her spirit alive along past the death of her body. So there's a ghost in this one too.
Blue Dahlia, you found some ghost stories.
I guess in the flowers. Who knew?
My fourth pick is Tasha Suri's The Jasmine Throne, and this is the beginning of a new trilogy which is set in a world inspired by the history and epics of India, in which a captive princess and a maidservant in possession of forbidden magic become unlikely allies on a dark journey to save their empire from the princess's traitor brother. Imprisoned by her dictator brother, Malini spends her days in isolation in an ancient temple that was once the source of the powerful, magical, deathless waters, but it's now little more than a decaying ruin. Priya is a maidservant, one among several who make the treacherous journey to the top of the temple every night to clean Malini's chambers. She's happy to be an anonymous drudge so long as it keeps anyone from guessing the dangerous secrets she hides. But when Malini accidentally bears witness to Priya's true nature, their destinies become irrevocably tangled. One is a vengeful princess seeking to depose her brother from his throne. The other is a priestess seeking to find her family, and together they will change the fate of an empire. So, if you want to start a trilogy, Tasha Suri's The Jasmine Throne kicks it off.
My last one are long gone, the Magnolias. The Magnolia Sisters. This is also the first in a series. This is by Alice Murray. It's in the Full Bloom Farm series. This is number 1, published in 2020. Harper Anderson has a to-do list longer than the Colorado River and the fields of tulips to tend to at her family's flower farm in Hillsborough County, California. It's her dream to run the business with her sisters when their father retires, keeping up traditions that began with her great-grandmother. That is, if there's a farm left to run. Rich out-of-towners looking for a slice of country living are hiking up the prices in town and putting her family out of business. So she has no time for the arrogant L.A. tech mogul who makes her an offer to use their farm as his sister's wedding venue. No amount of money could make up for the destruction it would wreak on next season's crop. The sooner that Luke Martin is on his way, the better. But Luke isn't willing to go. He's been looking out for his sister ever since their deadbeat parents left them to fend for themselves. And he'll do whatever it takes to make her happy. So when Harper's newest farmhand leaves her in the lurch, he sees an opportunity to strike a deal. He'll work on the farm for free if she'll give him the chance to change her mind. Harper and Luke each expect each other to crack first. What they don't expect is the chemistry that sparks between them as they work side by side among the budding roses. But Luke's presence is turning over more than the earth, and just as Harper is starting to let her guard down, he stumbles upon a secret that could spell disaster for the entire Anderson clan. With her family's happiness at stake, can Harper put her trust in a man who is worlds apart from everything she knows? The Magnolia Sisters. Lots of stuff to dig into on that one.
Oh, goodness. My last pick is Daisy Faye and the Miracle Man by Fannie Flagg, and this was published back in 1981. In this book, we meet Daisy Faye Harper in the spring of 1952, where she's not doing much except sitting around waiting for the 6th grade. When she leaves Shell Beach, Mississippi in September 1959, she's packed up and ready for the Miss America pageant, and she vows, "I won't come back until I'm somebody." But in our hearts, she already is. Sassy and irreverent from the get-go, Daisy Faye takes us on a rollicking journey through her formative years on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. There, at the end of the road of the South, the family malt shop freezer holds unspeakable things. Society Maven Mrs. Dot hosts junior debutante meetings and shares inspired thoughts for the week, such as, sincerity is as valuable as radium. And Daisy Faye's daddy hatches a quick cash scheme that involves resurrecting his daughter from the dead in a carefully orchestrated miracle. Lots going on in this one. Along the way, Daisy Faye does a lot of growing up, emerging as one of the most hilarious, appealing, and prized characters in modern fiction. So,
that one sounds
Fannie
fun.
Flagg's books, Fried Green Tomatoes, Whistle Stop Cafe. So, Daisy Faye and the Miracle Man.
Well, if you are inspired by the flowers around you or looking for something to read, then I hope we helped you find something here.
Thank you for watching our videos. You can find us on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and on our Kimberly Public Library website. And until next time, bye.
Bye.